Greetings, loved ones. If you have just discovered that your child or a child you care about has been sexually abused, it may feel as if your world is falling apart. But there is hope. Other caring adults have been where you are. Today we continue our series on caring for sexually abused children. And today we are continuing to discuss the effect of intrafamilial sexual abuse on the family. So help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit that like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You never know. You could save a life. So let's begin today by discussing how to cope with your own reactions of intrafamilial sexual abuse disclosure. Your initial reactions to the disclosure of sexual abuse by a family member may include shock, rage, confusion, denial, and disbelief. If you yourself were a victim of sexual abuse as a child, the disclosure may stir up even stronger reactions and confusion. So do not be surprised if you go through a painful period of doubting your child, particularly if the abuser is someone you love or depend on, such as a spouse, boyfriend, or grandparent. Because the abuser is almost certain to deny the abuse, you may find yourself in the difficult position of having to decide which family member is telling the truth and having to weigh the consequences of believing one over the other. For many parents, it is relatively easy to believe that the abuse has occurred when the victim is a very young child. So for many parents, believing your child means facing the fact that a person you have trusted and loved has betrayed, lied to, and used you and your child. It also means letting go of anger, which means redirecting your anger away from your child and toward the person who perpetrated the abuse. Letting go of feelings betrayed means recognizing the real source of the betrayal, the aggressor. To move forward, you will need to accept that much of what you believed about this person was not true. By letting go of old beliefs, you can help your child, who has also been betrayed, to heal more fully. Even parents who believe their child from the start may struggle with guilt at not having been able to prevent the abuse or not realizing that something was wrong before the child told. In such cases, it is helpful to remember that even though hindsight is 20/20, none of us have the power to read minds or predict the future. Many of the clues that seem clear when looking back are non-specific behaviors, for example, increased irritability, poor sleep, etc., that even a mental health professional may not have recognized as signs that the child was being sexually abused. So let me tell you about one family's story. Christina was a 12-year-old girl whose father, Michael, had been sexually abusing her for more than a year. One night, a neighbor called the police to report a violent argument between Christina's parents. When the police and Child Protective Services representative interviewed Christina, she told them what Michael had been doing to her and was removed from the home. At first, Christina's mother, Joanna, did not support or believe her daughter. Joanna was financially dependent on her husband, and she was terrified of his violent temper. A recent immigrant, she had no family in the States. She was embarrassed to talk about Michael's behavior with her few friends. And when Michael had been violent with her in the past, Joanna had always told herself that it was because she was not a good enough wife, but that he was a good father and could be trusted with their daughter. It took Joanna several months to recognize that she was a victim of domestic violence and to accept that her daughter had indeed been sexually abused. The hardest part for Joanna was to realize just how wrong she had been and to let go of her illusions about Michael. It was crucial for Joanna to receive help that would allow her to understand that the problem lay with Michael, not with her. Once she could acknowledge this, she was able to believe her daughter and to begin healing from her own experience of abuse. Only then could Christina and Joanna restore the trust in their mother-daughter relationship. So what do you do about moving forward? Non-offending parents are the single most important resource that children have after they have experienced intrafamilial abuse. As hard as it may be to report sexual abuse that has been perpetrated by a family member, this is the best thing you can do to help your entire family heal, including the person who perpetrated the abuse. If you are not sure who to contact, call the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4-CHILD. That's 1-800-422-4453, and that's at childhelp.org. get help. We'll put that in the description. Effective treatment is available to help you and your child move forward together towards a happy and healthy future. Children can recover from sexual abuse with the help of protective, supportive parents. Many communities have local children's advocacy centers that offer coordinated support and services to victims of child abuse, including sexual abuse. For a state-by-state listing of accredited CACs, visit the National Children's Alliance, nca-online.org. Again, that will be in our description. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, this blows my mind, 1 billion children ages 2 to 17 experience violence every year. So the question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. There is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love. You are not alone. If you're suffering violence, reach out to someone today. And if you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we will continue discussing the effect of intrafamilial sexual abuse on the family. Until then, God bless you.